Few siblings of global icons, especially one destined to be queen, managed to forge their own spotlight. But Pippa Middleton did exactly that. Even with Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, commanding center stage, Pippa's curve-skimming bridesmaid dress at the royal wedding burned her image into public memory and set flashbulbs blazing ever since. Now, the very woman who once choreographed her sister's fairy tale aisle walk is facing headlines hinting at trouble in her own happily ever after. What went wrong behind the scenes? And how did glamour turn to gossip? Stay with us as we unravel the real story behind Pippa Middleton's rumored divorce. When Pippa stepped out of Westminster Abbey in 2011, she wasn't merely a bridesmaid. She was a revelation. Tabloids printed her Royal Hotness in type big enough to read from the opposite platform of the tube. Overnight, her once anonymous Chelsea Street became a paparazzi stakeout. Flats she'd viewed in peace suddenly vanished after estate agents tipped off photographers. Ordering a simple latte meant sunglasses, a baseball cap, and a sprint worthy of her cross-country track days. For a young woman who'd once moved through life unremarked, it felt less like a fairy tale and more like being pressed between glass while the world took notes. Yet in that glare, Pippa sensed potential. Rather than reject the spotlight, she chose to harness it, penning a party planning book, Celebrate, signing columns in glossy magazines, and lending her newly famous name to charity galas that suddenly raised six-figure sums in a single night. Critics called the projects lightweight. Fans loved seeing a relatable Middleton carve out her own path. But with every autograph and red carpet pose, the question grew louder. Could she maintain momentum without letting it consume her identity? That identity took its first public hit in matters of the heart. Alex Loudon, the clean-cut cricketer and old Etonian, seemed perfect until visas, match tours, and time zone math shredded their intimacy. Enter Nico Jackson, a charming stockbroker, whose patent leather shoes gleamed as brightly as his future prospects. For 2 years, the press predicted champagne toasts and country house nuptials. Then, like a soap opera twist, the romance dissolved. Undone by 600 miles of Geneva to London distance and Nico's reluctance to share center stage. The heartbroken heroine trope resurfaced, but no one guessed the next plot development would be a Caribbean meet-cute with a multimillionaire who hated cameras. James Matthews appeared almost from a different century, tall, understated, politely reserved, comfortable at the helm of a hedge fund, but visibly uneasy beneath paparazzi floodlights. On sun-bleached St. Barth's, with steel blue water flickering like studio backlighting, Pippa and James bonded over their competitive streaks. She, the former college rower, he, the ex-racing driver, and a shared dedication to philanthropy. By 2016, discreet dinners turned into visible commitment rings. In 2017, a Berkshire wedding sealed their vows, complete with a glass marquee, Giles Deacon lace, and wisteria garlands. Instagram still hasn't forgotten. Marriage, however, exposed a chasm no camera could capture in a single frame. James thrived in boardrooms, not ballrooms. He skipped premieres, dodged microphones, and considered Instagram a word best left unspoken. Pippa, conversely, had learned to wield publicity like a lever, necessary to elevate charitable campaigns, lifestyle ventures, and brand collaborations. Whenever she hosted galas for the British Heart Foundation or attended a society wedding, James's absence became the elephant in every caption. Fans asked, "Where is he?" Rumor blogs concluded, "He simply won't come," each leap eroding another brick in the wall of wedded bliss. Overlaying this personal divide was the unavoidable shadow of her sister's crown. Catherine, Princess of Wales, possesses an entire palace press office trained to balance tradition with 21st century relatability. Walk a dog here, recycle a coat there, and watch headlines praise your thrift. Pippa, though beloved, faces that towering benchmark daily. Perfectionism seeped into her routines. Training schedules timed to the minute, color-coded event planners, wardrobe spreadsheets that would rival a fashion house. Friends recall her scribbling endless lists labeled Outshine Monday or Maintain Momentum. Yet perfection, like quicksand, tightens its grip the harder you struggle. The cost soon surfaced in her stylistic shift from playful florals to somber solids, as though color itself invited critique. Journalists clocked the change, dubbing it camel-tone chic, and wondered if exhaustion, motherhood, or marital tension was the root cause. During a 2019 British Heart Foundation ball, her first high-profile appearance 4 months postpartum, reporters noted fatigue halos around her eyes. Few noticed the bigger story: James was again missing. Asked about it, Pippa paused, flashed a practiced grin, and quipped, "Someone must handle the bedtime story." Laughter rippled, lenses flashed, but tension hung uncaptioned. Distance echoed in family dynamics too. Vogue Williams, television host, model, and wife to James's younger brother Spencer, fired podcast salvos that critics claimed targeted Meghan Markle but landed uncomfortably close to Pippa. Tabloids reveled in a supposed sister-in-law Cold War, side-eye exchanges at polo matches, pointed social media likes, frosty smiles at Christmas walkabouts. Palace insiders denied friction, gossip pages begged to differ, and every denial somehow cemented the myth. Beneath these headlines, charity work stitched the couple together. Pippa poured creative energy into the Mary Hare School for Deaf Children, collaborating with sculptor Sophie Ryder on bronze hair hybrids that funded new classrooms. James deepened the Michael Matthews Foundation, created after his brother's tragic fall from Mount Everest, inviting Pippa to tackle a lung-searing 47-mile swim run. Their finish line embrace, half delirious and all in, became a poignant counter-image to the missing spouse narrative. Still, philanthropy receipts rarely silence salacious column inches. Every solo stroll with a pram, every engagement ring removed before a fitness challenge, birthed fresh clickbait, separate lives, custody countdown, inevitable split. Body language experts dissected 2-second clips of taxi exits. Fingertip tension equals heartbreak, shoulders angled inward mean hope. Everyone became an analyst. Almost no one asked if perhaps the couple had simply struck an unconventional accord about public life. Sources close to the family paint a nuanced picture. James views transparency as vulnerability. Pippa sees it as currency. To reconcile, they divide duties. She handles podiums, he handles spreadsheets. She sweet-talks donors, he quietly signs 6-figure checks. The arrangement keeps her visible and him sane. 2 orbits overlapping at home, but seldom intersecting before cameras. Traditional? No. Functional? So far, yes. That functionality now includes 3 spirited children, Arthur, Grace, and Rose, who inspire parental instincts stronger than any PR strategy. School-run photos appear so rarely you'd think the family car is cloaking technology. When Arthur toddled his first charity fun run, the press pool received an embargoed set of 8 images, carefully cropped to exclude background clues. Critics branded it controlling. Supporters called it smart, in a world where tiny faces too often become click fodder. Meanwhile, Pippa's brand has evolved. She's pivoted from party tips to wellness advocacy, quietly investing in eco-friendly athleisure lines and nutritional snack startups. She posts just enough Pilates clips to engage fans, yet safeguards morning routines from oversharing. Insiders say James encouraged those ventures because they live in the spreadsheet column marked "Return on Passion," an unquantifiable figure he nonetheless respects. It's one more example of how their differences sometimes fuel synergy instead of friction. What most people miss is the scope of the Matthews empire beyond hedge fund headlines. In addition to Eden Rock, James and his siblings have quietly snapped up wilderness parcels across the Scottish Highlands, turning them into rewilding zones stocked with native pine, golden eagles, and red squirrels. Pippa, armed with her Duke of Edinburgh Award memories, loves nothing more than strapping on hiking boots and guiding visiting schoolchildren through peat bog restoration projects. Local newspapers have run heartfelt op-eds praising the couple's commitment to biodiversity, an angle that rarely travels south of Hadrian's Wall, but speaks volumes about where their private energies truly lie. Weekend life at Glen Affric Lodge runs on a schedule that would stun casual royal watchers. Sunrise yoga in the glass-walled conservatory, family breakfasts featuring eggs from free-range Orkney hens, then hours of outdoor labor, repairing stone walls, clearing invasive rhododendron, or mapping osprey nests with conservationists. Staff members say Pippa leads by example, wielding a mattock as confidently as she once twirled a cocktail shaker. James, meanwhile, crunches carbon offset data at night, ensuring the estate's annual footprint trends ever closer to net zero. Together, they've transformed a Victorian sporting lodge into a case study for sustainable land stewardship, yet have never granted a documentary crew access, refusing to convert personal convictions into media currency. Friends whisper that these Highland retreats act as marital reset buttons. Far from London's neon glare, the couple slips into muddy wellies, rediscovering the easy laughter that first sparked over mojitos on St. Barth's. They read bedtime stories by hurricane lamp, brew cocoa on wood stoves, and fall asleep to owls instead of ambulance sirens. It's not a life designed for Instagram slideshows, which may be exactly why it works. Yet synergy doesn't satisfy the narrative machine. Editors know a rise and fall arc sells better than happily ever after. So whispers resurface. separate wings at their Bucklebury estate, tense dinners beside the roaring fireplaces at Glenafric, arguments overheard on private jet tarmacs. People present at those alleged moments scoff, but denial rarely trends. One particularly viral rumor claimed James had packed a bag and driven off into the Surrey night after a disagreement about Pippa filming a documentary. That sighting turned out to be a neighbor whose Range Rover simply resembled James's, but the correction garnered a fraction of the clicks. Zoom out, though, and a subtler story emerges, one about choice rather than fracture. James cherishes anonymity as fiercely as Pippa values expression. They negotiate daily where to draw the line, sometimes redrawing it after breakfast, and friends insist the ongoing debate is less a wedge than a ritual. Is this good for the kids? Is it essential to the charity? Will it feed trolls? If 2 yeses outweigh 1 no, the post goes live, otherwise delete. That algorithm might confuse outsiders, yet within their walls it reportedly works. Another overlooked layer is the Matthews approach to future legacy. Family advisors hint at a vision that could meld Glenafric's rewilding model with Eden Rock's luxury hospitality, carbon-neutral villas, solar desalinated swimming pools, and scholarships for Caribbean marine biology students funded by every booking. Pippa, ever the storyteller, wants to chronicle the blueprint in a docu-series that pairs ecoscience with the island's vivid cultural lore. Whether James appears on camera remains uncertain, but his spreadsheets already earmark proceeds for coral reef restoration. The project may prove that incompatibility can birth innovation when channeled through a shared moral compass. Even so, observers wonder whether divergent social appetites can permanently coexist. Some marriage counselors argue that opposing public tastes thrive if partners respect, not resent, the gap. Others warn that cracks widen in midlife, when unmet needs feel urgent. At 39, Pippa has already achieved more than most influencers could list on vision boards, yet her drive hasn't dimmed. At 49, James is entering a reflective decade, focusing on legacy funds and carbon-negative resorts. Will those trajectories collide or converge? Only time will reveal the script twist algorithms crave. For now, hard evidence of divorce remains non-existent. Legal filings, none. Reliable insider leaks, zilch. Shared philanthropic ventures, growing. Their latest rumored project, according to a discreet aide at a London children's hospital, involves a state-of-the-art physiotherapy wing named after James's late brother and opened by Pippa next spring. If true, that ribbon cutting could underscore a simple truth. The pair still invests in futures, both public and deeply personal, that extend far beyond tabloids. Step back even further, and you might see a modern marriage adapting in real time, equal parts compromise, distance, and fierce alliance, undaunted by public thirst for clean-cut storylines. Are they hiding fractures, or simply declining to monetize intimacy? In an age where every selfie can be weaponized, maybe the boldest love story is the one that refuses the lens. So will Pippa and James ultimately draft a joint statement citing mutual respect and separate paths? Or will they keep defying clickbait, forging an unconventional partnership whose balance sheet values peace of mind above perfect optics? The only certainty is that, for now, the dress that launched 1,000 rumors hasn't unraveled the marriage stitched behind the seams. Now, it's your turn. Do you think this ultra-private alliance can withstand the media's endless appetite for drama? Or is a public split just one headline away? Let us know in the comments, share this deep dive with every royal watching friend, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss the next untold story behind the world's most talked about headlines. Thanks for watching. Until next time.